The year is 1940 and a twisted Nazi plot is underway. Deep inside concentration camps, prisoners are being forced to counterfeit millions of British pounds. The endgame? Smuggle the fake cash into Great Britain, absolutely flood the banking system, and crash the economy to guarantee a German victory in the war. The forged bills are packed tightly into suitcases and loaded onto trains. Meanwhile, over in Birmingham, England, female workers at a crucial arms factory are forced to keep the assembly lines moving, even as German bombers light up the night sky. Inside, the women are trying to find a slice of joy, singing happy birthday to a coworker and lighting a candle. But the wholesome moment is instantly shattered when a bomb crashes directly into the building, wiping out the factory and tragically killing everyone inside. Cut to Tommy, the once feared leader of England's most notorious gang, the Peaky Blinders, is now living completely off the grid. He's isolating himself in the countryside, focused solely on penning his memoirs. The next morning, his loyal right-hand man, Johnny, delivers the grim news about the Birmingham bombing, but Tommy doesn't even flinch. Johnny also mentions running into a female refugee who recognized him from the glory days. She was looking for Tommy, referring to him as the true king of the gypsies, but Johnny simply told her Tommy had tapped out of the criminal underworld. Later, while grinding away at his typewriter, Tommy hears the phone ring. As he gets up to unplug it, he catches a glimpse of someone sprinting through his yard. Frustrated by the paranoia, he slams the table and heads outside for some fresh air, only to find a mysterious red scarf hanging on a tree branch. Back inside, Tommy confesses to his journal that he's been hallucinating visions of his deceased daughter. However, the scarf is physically real, leaving him deeply unsettled. Desperate to shake off the bad vibes, he takes the scarf and drapes it over his late brother's grave. That afternoon, Tommy's isolation is interrupted by his sister, Ada. She brings him up to speed on the blown-up factory and begs him to return to the city to help, but Tommy shoots her down, claiming his mind is too haunted by the ghosts of his past. Ada doesn't hold back, tearing into him for abandoning his sons for years, to which Tommy coldly replies he was never cut out to be a father anyway. Even so, Ada unloads the family updates. His son Charles is fighting on the front lines in North Africa, while his other son, Duke, has officially taken the reins of the Peaky Blinders. The problem? Duke is running the gang straight into the ground, and Ada is terrified he's either going to end up in a hangman's noose or get violently mobbed by angry locals. Tommy, stubborn as ever, insists the death of his brother changed him forever, and he's never going back.
Back in the rubble of Birmingham, first responders are trying to manage the destroyed factory. Suddenly, the Peaky Blinders roll up and the cops practically freeze, knowing they have zero authority to stop them. The gang brutally tears the front doors off the hinges and starts looting any surviving weapons. When the factory owner tries to step in, Duke casually hands him a wad of cash and lies, saying the chief inspector gave them the green light. The owner keeps whining to the useless cops, prompting Duke's enforcer, Elijah, to step up. Elijah violently threatens the crowd, warning that anyone who interferes will have their families hunted down. The owner bravely claims he isn't intimidated, so Duke drops him with a ruthless punch. A massive brawl erupts as the factory workers try to fight back, but the hardened Peaky Blinders wipe the floor with them and clear out the armory. Shortly after, Ada arrives in the city with her son, Carl, and heads to the blast site, but the angry mob immediately turns on her, disgusted that she'd show her face after her family's gang just terrorized them. Later, inside a dimly lit pub, Duke sits down with a shadowy Nazi operative named Beckett. Beckett tosses Duke a sample of the counterfeit currency, revealing that they have a staggering £350 million ready to poison the UK economy, and he needs a local syndicate to distribute it. He offers the Peaky Blinders a massive 20% cut, warning Duke that total anarchy is about to follow. Beckett also mentions his higher-ups originally wanted to do business with Tommy. Triggered by his father's name, an unhinged Duke pulls his gun and blasts the window, hitting a parked car outside just to prove he's the guy calling the shots. When Beckett asks if Duke is really willing to sell out his own country, Duke doesn't hesitate. Beckett smirks, telling him he'll have to prove his loyalty tonight. The following day, Tommy hears a disturbance in his house and immediately grabs his piece. He finds a cryptic note on a table telling him to follow the open windows. The trail leads him to a woman named Kaulo, who is casually reading his manuscript. Tommy holds her at gunpoint, but freezes when he realizes she's a dead ringer for Duke's late mother, Zelda. Kaulo claims to be Zelda's twin sister and says she still communicates with her from beyond the grave. According to Kaulo, Zelda sent her with a dire warning. Duke is dealing with monsters who will wipe out the Gypsy bloodline. She strikes a deal with Tommy. If he comes out of retirement to save his son, she'll help him find the mental peace he's been desperately searching for. Suddenly, Johnny kicks the door open, weapon drawn, thinking it's a home invasion. Tommy shocks him by declaring Kaulo as a guest. Off to the side, Johnny warns Tommy that this woman is a known con artist who preys on grieving mothers by pretending to speak to dead soldiers, but Tommy completely ignores the red flags.
As night falls, the air raid sirens wail over Birmingham again. Huddled inside a bunker, Ada takes advantage of the captive audience to rally the locals. She needs their written testimonies to take to the military police and bring Duke down. At the same time, Duke is meeting with Beckett and a guy named Virgil, the deputy head of the British fascist movement. Virgil is the key to distributing the fake cash nationwide. Duke pitches a brilliant strategy to use 3 canal boats to move the money, which totally impresses Virgil. But the mood shifts instantly when Beckett announces that his intel marks Virgil as a double agent. Without missing a beat, Duke shoots Virgil. As the fascist tries to crawl away in a pool of his own blood, Duke puts another bullet in him. Beckett coldly orders him to empty the entire clip, forcing Duke to cross the ultimate point of no return. Shaken and panicked, Duke is reassured by Beckett that he is now protected by incredibly powerful people. His next mission is to head to Liverpool to secure the incoming cash, but first, he has to clean up the mess. Duke angrily smashes a bottle, drags Virgil's corpse to the pens and feeds him to the pigs. Up in Liverpool, the ships carrying the devastating counterfeit payload finally hit the docks. The next morning, Tommy wakes up alone, finding only the red scarf left in bed. After respectfully returning it to his brother's grave, something snaps inside him. Absolute boss is back. He throws on his iconic 3-piece suit, fires up his car, and declares he is heading to Birmingham. A terrified Johnny thinks this is a suicide mission, but refuses to let Tommy go alone. Meanwhile, Duke wakes up after a wild night with a woman and realizes he's still covered in Virgil's blood-stained clothes, which he quickly tosses into a fire. Beckett corners him with bad news. He knows about Ada's little speech in the bomb shelter. He orders Duke to execute his own aunt before she reaches the military cops. Beckett adds a twisted psychological blow, saying his own son is a disappointment, but he'd be proud to call Duke his boy. Forced into a corner, Duke stalks Ada and Carl through the city streets, eventually posting up in a phone booth with a perfect sniper angle. But when it comes down to pulling the trigger, family loyalty paralyzes him. Enraged, he smashes the phone booth. Following her further, he spots a mysterious car pulling up. Recognizing Beckett stepping out, Duke screams out to warn her, but he's too late. Beckett mercilessly guns Ada down in the street, swiping her bag full of testimonies. As Beckett drives off, he looks at Duke and tells him he's officially a disappointment. Little Carl is left having a total breakdown over his mother's body, while Duke watches, completely powerless.
Out on the country road, Tommy abruptly stops his car. He sees a ghostly vision of Ada staring back at him, making him realize she's gone. When he finally pulls up to the active crime scene, a cop reveals Duke was mixed up in the murder. Tommy goes totally numb, ordering Johnny to guard Ada's body at the morgue while he handles family business. Tommy kicks open the doors of the local pub, instantly cutting the music. The patrons, thinking he's just a washed-up has-been, start throwing insults. But just as the crowd gets hostile, Elijah recognizes him and warns everyone that they are looking at the legendary Tommy. The whole room backs down except for one clueless soldier who pulls a gun on him. In the most alpha move possible, Tommy casually unpins a grenade and stuffs it into the soldier's shirt. The guy sprints out of the pub screaming, exploding in the street seconds later. Tommy calmly picks up the dead man's dropped gun, blasts the record player, and forces Elijah to take him straight to his son. Inside the storeroom, Duke is frantically packing his bags to skip town, but Tommy crashes the party, hurling Duke into the mud. He grabs the bags of stolen hospital meds and violently whips them at his son, screaming at him for crossing every moral boundary. As Tommy delivers a brutal beatdown, Duke cries out that he couldn't kill Ada because he still loves his family. He screams that the only thing he inherited from Tommy was a life of sin. Duke tries to tackle his father, but Tommy easily overpowers him in the mud, literally beating the details of Beckett's counterfeit plot out of him. With the intel secured, Tommy heads to the morgue. He confiscates Johnny's weapon, sends him away, and finally breaks down in front of Ada's lifeless body. He apologizes for not coming sooner. In a tearful confession, he admits that killing their brother wasn't an accident at all. It was a brutal act of alcohol-fueled rage because he wanted to be free of him. Wiping his tears, Tommy swears that out of all this tragedy, he will finally do something good. When he walks out into the street, Beckett is waiting. A massive, chaotic shootout erupts. Startled horses run wild as the two men use everything in sight for cover. Beckett tries to manipulate Tommy, yelling that Hitler's eugenics are right and that economic warfare is cleaner than dropping bombs. Running out of ammo, Beckett uses the panicked horses to block the alley and makes a run for it. Tommy casually mounts one of the horses and rides through his old turf, with the neighborhood locals cheering for the return of their king.
Back at the pub, a miserable Duke is drinking his guilt away. Kaulo slides into the booth, whispering poison in his ear. She claims Zelda's spirit prophesied that Duke and Tommy would team up, but gives him a single bullet with a dark twist. Once the Nazis are dead, Duke has to put a bullet in his own father. She convinces him it's the only way he'll ever get peace and take his rightful place as the true Gypsy King. Leaving the bar, Kaulo runs into Tommy and assures him Duke is on board. Tommy just coldly tells her he needs a gypsy funeral cart. Inside the pub, Duke flips a coin to decide his fate. Tommy walks in, pours them both a heavy drink, and the ultimate father-son alliance is forged to take down Beckett. Shortly after, the remaining family and friends gather for Ada's funeral. Her body is placed in a traditional gypsy cart adorned with photos. Tommy lights the pyre, staring intensely into the flames as he processes his grief. Later that night, Duke calls Beckett, warning him that Tommy is coming for blood. But Duke plays the double agent perfectly, negotiating a £70 million payout to finish the delivery. Meanwhile, Tommy stands over Ada's ashes when a dockyard boss named Stag approaches him. Stag hands over the blueprints to the Nazi warehouse and the exact boat schedules. Duke arrives and Tommy introduces him, officially declaring that he trusts his son. The trio crafts a suicide mission. Tommy plans to infiltrate via the Waterloo Tunnel, even though Stag warns him half of it has caved in. On the drive toward Liverpool, Tommy continues writing his book, dedicating it to his kids. He writes that Duke is his true heir, but tonight is the ultimate test of his soul. Arriving at the sealed tunnel, Tommy meets up with Kaulo, whose cousins use heavy gear to cut through the iron gates. While they wait, Tommy demands she read his palm. When she only recites his past, he asks about his future. Kaulo promises him he'll find peace tonight. Tommy immediately pulls his gun, revealing he's known from day one that she was sent to have him killed. He calls her a walking bad omen. Kaulo just smirks, warning him that if he doesn't kill Duke tonight, Duke will put him in the ground. As Tommy navigates the pitch-black tunnel, Duke feeds the boat routes to Beckett, who immediately radios the German soldiers. But it's a trap. Suddenly, the Luftwaffe begins carpet-bombing the dock area. The explosions cause the tunnel ceiling to collapse, burying Tommy alive. Trapped in the rubble, Tommy experiences massive trench warfare flashbacks and horrific visions of his dead family. But pure grit takes over. He literally claws his way through the dirt and debris until he hits the exit stairs. Outside, German soldiers are waiting for the cargo boats. They open fire on Stag, who is captaining the lead vessel. But in an absolute boss move, Stag arms a massive payload of explosives and dives into the freezing water. The boat slams into the docks, triggering a colossal explosion that completely vaporizes the Nazi soldiers.
Inside the warehouse, Beckett realizes Duke played him and levels his gun at him. Duke just smiles, explaining that his coin flip told him to betray his father, but he chose to be his own man and do the right thing. Just then, a rogue bomb blows the side of the warehouse wide open. The blast knocks Beckett off his feet, giving Duke the chance to run just as Tommy breaches the building. Soon, the Peaky Blinders swarm the perimeter, engaging in a merciless firefight that wipes out the remaining Nazi guards. Tommy goes full stealth mode, dropping enemies left and right until he runs into Duke, who is demanding to know what took him so long. A stressed out Tommy yells that he's only here because Zelda asked and orders Duke to
get out of the combat zone. Tommy then rigs a deadly landmine right in the middle of the counterfeit cash, ensuring the Nazi economy plot goes up in smoke. Catching on to the sabotage, Beckett jumps into a car and floors it directly toward Tommy. Tommy stands his ground, gun raised. Beckett shoots Tommy twice in the stomach, but Tommy manages to put a bullet straight through Beckett's hand. As the driverless car hurtles toward Tommy to finish the job, Duke flies out of nowhere, tackling his father out of the way right as the vehicle smashes into a brick wall. Tommy hits the ground, bleeding out fast, as the Peaky Blinders form a circle around him. Knowing it's the end, Tommy presses his gun into Duke's hand and orders him to finish it. Duke desperately refuses, but Tommy commands him as a father and a boss. With tears streaming down his face, Duke pulls the trigger, mercy killing his father as Tommy recites a final poem. The gang bows their heads, hailing Duke as the new, undisputed Gypsy King. His first order of business: burn every last counterfeit bill. Sometime later, Cowlow retrieves Tommy's finished manuscript and hands it over to Duke. The video ends as the entire gang surrounds a wooden cart holding Tommy's body, his photos, and the remnants of the fake cash. Duke tosses the torch, and the crew stands vigil around the blazing inferno for hours, giving the legendary Tommy the epic send-off he deserves.